on, Jim. Saw you walk in the door. I caught you.
Well, I can honestly tell you, I'd have a bigger smile on my face if I wasn't fucking looking at a goddamn Ferrari all the time. And I lost connection with my, what do you call it, Facebook accounts. Yeah, I got 5 of them floating out there dead. And I don't even know how to get. And I don't know how to get on one. Every time I go to Facebook, it makes me fill out another one.
Oh wow!
It finds my picture, but it can't connect to any of my friends and any of the other. Oh no, I've had that. That was the back part.
Okay, I never came to
Yeah, I straight to cab. That's called about water. And I had the head. It pops and goes on pretty soon.
Come on and see what this was on there. You put that wing on or what? You find
Wow.
a leaf over?
Thank
yeah,
you.
They're sickening.
He's not only my Earth Angel, he's yours now, baby.
You got to put it between paper or it'll wrinkle up until it dries.
Wow.
Like
That's awesome.
between money. Just like paper money was better.
We haven't got any, Jim. Didn't get no money.
Paper money was better. Plastic money doesn't really dry good.
So how far are you getting on your Ferrari?
I'm wait. 6 weeks ago, I sent the major fuel injector units in a box to Alabama to a world specialist that rebuilds them, calibrates them, and pressure tests them, and warrants it, and sends it back. And according to all the different Ferrari people I've talked to on the internet, that is where you send it.
Okay.
Don't attempt to do it yourself.
Well,
No
you're
one
right.
is qualified to do it. Plus, you don't have the machinery to test it. But and other than that, I'm trying to get the front end sitting a little low. And on the Ferrari chat line, everybody complains that their Mondeo's sitting about 2 inches too high in the front end because of back in the 80s. That's how they made them. So I got the front end all ripped apart now. And
Take us in and show us. Joey's making
yeah.
a video, obviously.
Oh.
Let's take us in and show us. See what's going on.
but,
The old Chevy running this whole time?
the motor, I got the motor sort of rebuilt.
Awesome. Awesome.
This thing, I can only work on one thing at a time. I can't multi.
Well, you know what?
Anyways,
Look at that now, would ya? That looks good out here. You finally see it.
And I head down the road.
Did ya?
Yeah, and it works good. But when I came home and turned it off, it worked good. The throttle, the plunger in the injector regulator was stuck. And we took it apart and unstuck it, so it, for the first time ever, it would rev up. And it ran pretty good, a little bit rich, but it ran pretty good. And drove it down the road and back and opened her up a little bit. It worked incredibly good. Turned it off. Next day, checked the oil, over full gasoline. And that's one of the problems with this unit. When you disturb it, the O-rings get messed up. And they leak by and flood the motor. Anyway, I sent the unit down to the States, and it's supposed to be back next week.
Does it shift nice?
A little bit rough,
Yeah,
but I'm rough anyway on
You want to see
shifting.
me shift that old 3-speed?
I have to drive a car a long time before. I have to get very familiar with shifting in order to have them shift smooth.
I hear you.
You know, like every car is a little bit different, and whatever you get used to, like this red Cobalt out there, that shifts beautiful.
Yes.
And the laser, you got to shift that like it's a European car, or it won't go in gear. And this thing's even trickier.
Right.
But it went through the gears. And,
Good.
but anyway, I got the shocks all off, and I wish those. I'm gonna try to take these apart and put shorter spring, weaker springs on it.
Yeah.
The other choice is leave the assembly alone and cut this out and raise that 3/4 of an inch.
Why wouldn't you cut your spring?
Can't, it's machined on the ends. It's machined on the ends. You can't cut that. If you cut it, say you cut it back here,
Just a minute now.
you don't have that machined edge.
Can I roll this back?
Yep. It's got a machined end on both sides. It's squared off to fit the rubber. And if you cut it, then it's the old-fashioned style where it's got to go in a groove.
Well, geez, I'd rather cut the spring than anything myself, and then
but
cut
you
anything inside the car.
Yeah, but you can't because you
Don't
gotta
say I can't. I cut that with the grinder, put it right back on.
and sit like this.
you could take and
grind it,
bend it. You know, you can bend like you. Why can't you cut this off?
And
then
then heat that and bend it up and then grind it off to simulate that.
Yeah, just one. You know,
Yeah,
you don't
yeah.
heat the whole thing.
I
Just
only
one.
want that much.
Yeah, exactly. Bend that up a little bit and then grind it off so it's flush.
Well,
You know, your spring is
I
kind of
know.
like this, anyways. Is it
I
not?
know. Yes, they do.
So I mean, you go careful with that. I mean, but that's how I wouldn't cut your car.
Well, the
You
other
replace
way
the spring, you
is
can't
cut
replace
this
the car.
top mount out and raise it 3/4 of an inch.
Well, I wouldn't. That's modern. No, I wouldn't do that. No.
Just
Because the simple fact is, you can replace the spring. You can't. You're gonna have
Yeah, I
to.
know.
You have to cut that all back off.
yeah.
I would go with that if I was you. If you can, it'd be easier. I mean, fuck, you even make a thing on the side of it so it can't come out. You know what I mean? So it has to stay in there. If you know what I'm saying.
Well, yeah, I do.
I think I'd rather do that than cut your car.
Yeah, I just kind of know that I can't really make that edge.
Well, you can if you try. You
it-
cut it with a zip cut and then bend one a little bit down, just flatten it out a little bit.
You have to
Can't
heat
you?
it up.
Well, you heat it up. I don't want. Yeah, if you heat it, the spring up, you'll ruin it. You'll take the tension.
but
out
if
of
you
it.
heat up just down here
And
enough
obviously
to
she's
start curl.
pushing hard here. Look.
I know that's how they were.
Yeah, but I mean, I would take and cut it off. I'd bend that up a little bit so it looks like that, and then I take a grinder and flatten it off like they did. You can do
Okay.
that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Once it comes here,
yes.
you just cut this and just bend this part up to it's
I've
flush
just
down
never
this side.
I've just never done that.
and
before.
take a grinder or set
Like
it on a
I've
grinder.
cut lots of springs,
Yeah.
but they've always been the old style
That
where
come in the-
where the groove is cut down
Yeah.
in, and you just cut them off and line it up.
For sure, but
You know,
you,
but-
you can bend the end of that spring up and then grind
Yeah.
it off and make it sit flat. Sure you can. I know you can. They did it. You
Well-
can do it. If you know what I'm saying. They
Yes,
did it. You can do
yes, yes. Well, these are as stiff as on that 1-ton truck.
Mm-hmm.
There's no movement in the front end.
it. Yeah. Oh,
And when you jack up the car,
it's not hard to tell the way the spring's buckled.
yeah, I know. You jack up the car 1/2 inch, and the front wheels are airborne. So the
This
front
car
end,
was smashed and
the
Jim
front
fixed
end
it.
is sitting up as high as it could. Like it could not sit any higher.
Jim, you're probably not the guy that I would expect to have a Ferrari, but here it is. He's now a
Well,
Ferrari mechanic.
I know you said last year that same similar thing, except for you put the word driving in there.
Oh yeah.
And I was saying to myself, driving. Driving. Will that day ever come?
Cool.
Literally.
You haven't got your
You know
engine
what I
back
mean?
in your truck yet? Jolene
no.
was looking at some pictures. She's seen that all different colors. She said, he drive that like that? And I said, yeah, he did. He painted it
Yeah,
every other week, different colors.
Yeah,
She looked like rainbow.
I
dog.
could paint the whole thing with a brush, 2 coats in 3 hours. Cutting it in, and I got good enough with the brush that I could go right along the edge of the chrome, just like that, and the windows. I wasn't overly fussy, but
3 hours. That's
yeah,
pretty good.
3 hours, hour and a half of paint job, front to back. And by the time I got around to the front, the paint was dry, and I was able to slap it back on. The only problem when you paint with a brush is it's standard to go into the paint, out into the new area, and you can't do that. You've got to put your blob out in the new area and sweep back and lift your brush, or else you get that straight edge of the brush stop, start. Like you get that line where the brush starts, and you can't feather the brush in. You can only feather the brush out. So you gotta paint backwards. You gotta put your blob out here on the unpainted area and sweep it in and lift. And that way you get the smooth brush look. Otherwise, you get all these lines in it where you start at your brush mark.
Okay.
And it looks like crap. Like if,
I'll remember that if I brush a car.
well, I don't do it on anything. I did it on that because I had so many ideas of different colors that I couldn't mask it up and spray each time. So I just grabbed different paints and, you know.
It looked good going down the road.
But what I was hoping was the paint was going to fall off. And then I'd have that multi fall off look, but it never happened. The paint stuck like glue. Matter of fact, the paint stuck better than if I'd followed the rules and used car paint.
I understand.
It kind of, yeah, no, I'll do that because I can always replace. It's like you said, I can't replace
Yeah, you
any
don't
of
want to
that.
cut that.
But that, if I did, then I wouldn't even have to take these apart and it would bolt right in there because there is room.
I seen how somebody cut the shock tower move the shock tower up to lower their car. Yeah, I guess so, but I don't know.
But see, the shocks tower is the stop
yeah,
on these. You know, that is the stop.
well, it's a good looking car, that's for sure. Good looking
But anyway, hopefully next week,
I'm
like
looking
another
around.
week, I'll have the injector stuff all back on it.
Remember the lights we were doing, Biddy, and see the lights in the corner? See how you like that light thing that will go up over top of that? They're like, we're gonna make ours, I think. We keep thinking these lights that you have for something, but
They're nice.
they are nice.
And they turn on in the wintertime. They're a little hard on electricity though.
Are they?
They're like 1960 style.
Well, that's what's nice
Freezer
about them.
lights is
Yeah.
what they came out of for freezers.
She's got a nice little lens on them, how they're
If
round.
it's like
Yeah, I
40
like them.
below and you turn them on, they come on. Like
Okay.
for instance, in the olden days, wouldn't work. You had to go and touch
Right?
and wiggle them. But
Yeah.
anyway,
Jim's got a few gems up through this
nobody-
building here. You can see up through there.
Andy Robb came over and helped me out, but we had no success. Like as I said, we found out where you send this unit to have it professionally put together, and hopefully that'll do it. But
And you headed up the road.
yeah,
That's good.
yeah,
I'm happy for you.
yeah.
Jolie's been wondering what you're doing with her car.
One thing I like about these cars, you can jack up the front or the back, or you can jack them up,
And they stay right, just,
and
they're just as tight as anything, eh?
the doors open and close exactly the same.
Yeah.
There's no twist in the body anywhere.
I think you'll find that every piece on this car has got,
Like
I
it's
guess
all
it-
square stock,
but
but the
it's
way
all
they
gusseted.
it's all gusseted
Yeah.
and triangled and
Everything's
double
gusseted so it can't
floored,
twist, yeah.
yeah.
I kind of understand that. Now I understand why you said when you moved one thing, it moved everything, because
Yeah.
everything is gusseted
oh,
together.
it was awful. It was awful. Just take out a little. Plus the fenders, after hammering so bad, they were like fatigued, and when you well, you know, like I had to heat it in a couple spots to help me pull some tension out of it,
Yeah.
which I had to be careful not to overdo it because then the heat would cause more tension. But anyway, I managed to release it enough that, and every bolt, long as every bolt is in, when you bolt it together, everything lines up with no adjustment. That's how I got it bent. Like,
Cool. Yeah.
but
She's
the
a-
front end sat too high. The front end was hard as rocks.
Well, you got it
sitting-
looking good though.
Well,
All
I'll
right.
investigate. Like I'd be a lot happier modifying the springs.
Yeah,
But
for sure.
I want the front end sit 2 inches lower.
No, I would
Because
think
right
that-
now it's hard. It's almost sits like that.
You
Like,
can do that. That there's gonna. That would be
Oh.
catastrophic. I would not say catastrophic, but I just don't feel like
I
that's
know.
what you want to do.
Well, considering the value of this
Yeah,
and the value of that,
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah,
this
yeah.
is
That's just a part.
yeah, yeah.
All right, Jim, we're gonna cruise out and look at that Thunderbird. I
Yeah.
just seen you walking by there. We wanted to come see and see your Ferrari is what we wanted to do, and I guess we got the info. And if I knew what I was doing,
Well, I'm slowly learning, but as I said, I think we'll have good luck with these parts sent to the States and back because
on.
that's the main. These are the
Fingers crossed.
yeah.
Fingers crossed.
No, when
You plan on
when does Hollywood open back up again? Anytime? Well, I guess it's the same as everything else, isn't it?
I would say that I don't know, to be honest
Yeah.
with you. I feel bad for them, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, the whole basically the whole
place.
world's got this
Well,
same problem.
Yeah, we're not acting like they are, though.
Yeah.
No, I don't want nothing to do with that. Well, I'm fine right where I'm at. If you know what I'm saying. I wouldn't have no problem with anybody. They seem to be having a lot of issues, don't they?
In more ways than one.
Yeah. I feel bad for them, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I feel bad for them.